So I can see from this, the place that you live, that you understand the impact of nutrition. And so talk about the impact of nutrition specifically on cancer. What is cancer and what does nutrition have to do with cancer?
A broad, expansive, sort of global question here, Ty. So forgive me if we take a couple of side spurs. My book, Beating Cancer with Nutrition, which has sold 500,000 copies and is considered the definitive work in that area. It's been translated into 5 languages. I organized 3 international symposia on the subject of adjuvant or helpful nutrition in cancer treatment. And then a textbook came out of that, Adjuvant Nutrition in Cancer Treatment. So all of this is not just hearsay and innuendo, but essentially there's 5 main reasons why all cancer patients need to use nutrition as part of their comprehensive cancer treatment. And a forewarning, I would not use nutrition as sole therapy against cancer. It's insufficient, but it is irreplaceable. And so given that, let's just think of the 5 main reasons why every cancer patient needs to include nutrition as part of their comprehensive therapy. Number 1, nutrition actually is a big part of the malnutrition. 40% of cancer patients die of malnutrition, not of the cancer. Cancer is a wasting disease. Appetite is affected. You end up in the hospital with food that you're unfamiliar with. Chemo and radiation can induce cachexia or lean tissue loss. So malnutrition kills 40% of cancer patients. The only therapy for that is proper nutrition. It sometimes needs to be aggressive with a metabolic support team, such as total parenteral nutrition and other things. Number 2 is that nutrition can help to make chemo, radiation, and surgery more of a selective therapy. In other words, chemo and radiation are non-selective toxins. They're cytotoxic poisons. They kill everything in their pathway. And there is what they call collateral damage. So a patient who is receiving chemo is going to have a certain amount of hair loss, nausea, vomiting, weight loss, all as part of the chemo, but nutrition can make chemo, radiation, and surgery more selectively toxic to the tumor and less toxic to the patient. And this is where a very important part of my message is to get the oncologist and the nutritionist and the cancer patient in the same room together, and they all have the goal of beating this cancer. And the fact is, a well-nourished cancer patient can better manage the disease and the therapies that are used for it. So number 2 is nutrition makes chemo more of a rifle rather than a hand grenade. Number 3, we find that cancer is a sugar feeder. Cancer is what's called an obligate glucose metabolizer, meaning that there is a dramatic uptake of glucose in the cells of tumor cells. If you can lower gut and blood glucose, you can help to slow down cancer. And there's a number of therapies now that target this whole unique Achilles heel of the cancer cells. Number 4, we find that your immune system is supposed to recognize and destroy cancer cells. In a cancer patient, the immune system has failed its duties. There has to be some ways of upregulating the immune system. So that's a whole study in itself. And number 5 is that nutrients can become biological response modifiers. Back in 1971, when Richard Nixon launched the war on cancer, he said, "We will have a cure for a major cancer within 5 years by the bicentennial, 1976. We don't have a cure for any major cancer today either. We have some better treatments, but essentially launching the war on cancer, and we have now spent in the neighborhood of $50 billion on research at the National Cancer Institute, and over $1 trillion in therapies, and we now have 40% of men born today can expect to develop cancer in their lifetime. In the year 1900, 3% could expect to develop cancer in their lifetime. We got a problem there. But one of the things we know from cancer research and nutrition research is that nutrients can become biological response modifiers. They change the way the body works. A blatant example.